warm welcome to my channel, Nathalie. And I would like to tell my viewers that our esteemed guest, Nathalie, is all the way from Netherlands, and she is a health advocate. So, Nathalie, I'm really looking forward to have this conversation with you because you are the first person from Netherlands with whom I'm going to be interacting. So, I'm really looking forward to this conversation, and thanks a million for being a part of this podcast.
Thank you, Janelle, for having me on your podcast. I'm also really excited. Many women have come before me, very inspiring, very informational, and I
Yeah.
hope that the conversation that we have today is also, giving some insight in my life and where I stand for your audience. And
Definitely.
I really think we have a. Now, let me start having a glass of water.
Uh-huh.
We have a lot of common because I work with a product that is cell communication and you are in communication. And I think that is what started connecting us. So really cool.
Definitely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Even the vibes that I'm getting from you, even though we are not in the same room, but it's really positive, and I like your aura, Natalie. I can sense it. So,
Thank
yeah.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah,
And
we have a lot in common, right? Spirituality, yoga,
yeah,
sport, communication.
yeah,
So happy to be here.
that's what my first question to you is, Natalie. Like, what's your definition of health?
My definition of health. Well, I used to think that health is fixing what's broken, right? That's what the
Hmm.
system
Wow.
teaches us. But now I see it very differently. I see it as tuning into the symphony that's already there, starting at the base level, which is the cellular level. To me, health is not just an absence of disease, but I think it's creating coherence when every part of your body is communicating properly and is in harmony from the base on, which is your cells, to your soul. That's very important. That's when we are in true health. And
Hmm.
yeah,
And
that I think is the foundation, the communication systems in our body.
wow. And recently I saw your post about your tattoo of Lord Shiva's. Oh my guess.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I love that. I was like, wow,
Inspired by my many visits to India. Yeah.
really? Uh,
Yeah.
how many times have you been to India? I guess you told me, yeah, like,
Yeah, I think about 5 times.
wow. And even I can see Lord Buddha. Is that Lord Buddha behind you? Yeah, in the
Um,
picture on that side. That
oh no, that is a painting from my sister-in-law. It maybe
okay,
it looks like a Buddha, but it isn't. It isn't.
okay,
No.
okay, got it, got it. Wow, intriguing, nice. And as you deal with a lot of women, Natalie, being a health advocate, I would like to know what are
Yeah.
some of the challenges that women face nowadays, in this modern era.
Yeah, there are unfortunately many. You would think that with our current health system being very advanced, that we would become healthier and healthier. And unfortunately, it's actually the opposite. And I'm very focused on women because I'm a woman myself, and I think women have been neglected for a long time, and that's obviously a whole different conversation. But today I see a lot of women facing hormonal problems,
Yeah.
burnout, imbalances, chronic fatigue, but also a lot of autoimmune flare-ups. And often they feel like they're just managing life, especially the women that work and have a family. Um, so it's not just physical. I think there's a lot of emotional disconnection, loss of energy, purpose, and even often I find a loss of identity. Um, and that's why I like to work on the base with people, trying to recalibrate. I work holistically, so I think it's probably a whole journey of reclaiming who you are. And that's got a lot of facets, obviously.
Yeah. And
Does that answer your question?
yes, it does. I'm still processing. Like I take time to, go through all the answers that my guests tell, and once I'm like, the process ends, then I ask the other question. So it's really profound the way you spoke. Yeah. And the next question, Natalie, that what sort of financial issues that women have today? Are they facing this kind of issues as well?
I think they do. Well, let's talk for myself. Coming out, I've had a very good upbringing. I'm very lucky. My father was a successful CPA. But once you're on your stand on your own 2 feet, as we call it,
Mm,
life throws you different balls, right? And you have to, I have a family with 3 children. You have to hold up your own trousers, as we say in Dutch. And obviously, I cannot speak for all the women of the world. But what I see often is a lot of women feel kind of trapped in systems where time equals money. And that's why I've stepped out of that system. Um, Many people and many women lack financial sovereignty and don't feel a sort of empowerment to build wealth. We still have a lot of beliefs that money is evil and money does only bad things. But I think that's what I've learned on the way, that if you money is an energy. Yeah, it's a way that aligns with who we are and our own spaciousness. And when you have money freedom, you get time freedom, and you're able to do a lot of good things in the world. And that's why I have chosen the path of network marketing, and I've
mm,
chosen obviously a product that works on the baseline, and yeah, gives me that freedom to offer leveraged income possibilities.
okay.
I create flexibility in a way that creates wellness and wealth in the same breath. And I think that is extraordinary, and it attracts a lot of women also. Women deserve, I think, to be resourced to not only energetically but also financially and emotionally. And I think over the years, um, we have suffered enough, and we should take back
Mm,
our own power. So I'm really also very much thinking of empowerment, and yeah, that's
well,
why I do what I do.
And Natalie, in the light of what you are saying, like as you said that you have 3 children, so how was how did you deal with that, like upbringing, then working along with that? How you were able to balance the work life, thing?
The work-life balance, you mean
Yeah,
myself when
yes.
I
Along with your
uh,
family, taking care of your family, having
yeah.
3 children, all that.
Well, I've been outside of the Netherlands for 30 years,
Yeah.
uh, together with my husband and 3 children who are now grown up, 28, 25, and 22, and 2 dogs. We moved across the globe due to my husband's work. I had I have a background in business, so for me it was not always easy to work. So I always say the international life is the best personal development school in the world,
Okay.
because
Wow.
you get quite quickly you get confronted with who am I, why am I here, what do I stand for, what do I want to do in the world. So I was fortunate to, yeah, to look into that mirror and do a lot of self development, and that's why I eventually became a holistic health coach. Because I think health is not only, as I shortly touched upon, is not only the food. A lot of people think that it's the food that you take in, or the juices that you drink, but it encompasses a lot of other elements. It is your relationships in your life, it is your spiritual growth, it is your stress level, it is your
Yeah.
sleep, it's your trauma. It's a whole array of things
Mm.
that look. So I've been able to do that, and as I started having my own business, I could juggle time between family and my own business. Not always easy, but very worthwhile. You know, when you're changing people's lives, I think the energy it fulfills you with energy. It fills you with energy, and that's yeah, that's what
Wow.
I love to do. And I always think are um, when your work becomes something that is intrinsic to you, that it
Mm.
comes from your heart, it doesn't become work. And that's why I said, you know, a lot of people trade time for money. And when you're able to get out of that system and do what you love and create that, then I think the balance, you always have to watch it, obviously, but comes by itself because it gives you energy.
I love the part where you spoke about your experiences of moving to different places, Natalie. I want to know like how that aid you in being a different person. Like we often say that when we are feeling down in the dumps, we need to go somewhere, we need to travel. But you have traveled your entire life. You have been to many countries. Even prior to this podcast, we spoke about how you have been to many countries. So, like, how many countries approximately have you been to, and how it has changed your persona?
I think I haven't counted. I think seven or eight.
Wow.
Um, how has it changed me?
Hmm.
I think it has changed me profoundly because I believe that when you live in your own country and in your own city or village, that you tend to get locked up in a bubble. And what we are fed by the media becomes our truth. And I think by traveling a lot or by staying in another country, I do think there's a difference in traveling and in actually living in a country
Yeah.
because you are immersed in the local culture. You have to deal with local people, with the local food, with the local climate. So there are a lot of elements that are new. You know, I come from the Netherlands where we have a sea climate which is generally doesn't get colder than -6 Celsius and doesn't get higher than, if we're lucky, 30 degrees Celsius. And I've
Oh,
lived in the Middle East where temperatures soar to 40, 45 degrees. I've lived in humidity, I've lived in cold countries. So I think that already is an adaptability physically. And but culturally also, when you are among different faith, you know, it opens up what faith really means. And
hmm.
sometimes people, you realize that people are not
Yeah.
um,
Think
what
of
we
them.
are, what they are presented to be in the
Hmm.
media. And I think that has changed me profoundly. It's made me, I can really say that I'm an open-minded person. I remember that my mother-in-law once said, wow, your children don't have any bias to walk up to anybody that has a different uh, tone of skin or a different um, appearance. And
Hmm.
I think that as children do, right?
True.
They are not influenced by a lot of things in the system that make us um, not like each other, that creates diversity and chaos. And I think living in among different cultures has made me a very flexible, open-minded, and humble person also. And why do I say humble? Because the world is so much bigger than where we live. And I've also had the experience of very bad a cyclone and a hurricane. So the power of nature has also shown me in the Netherlands. We have storms, but we don't have enormous powers of nature as I just described. And being in that and seeing the devastation also makes you, as a human being, a very humble person. So it changed me in a lot of ways. I think,
Wow,
yeah.
intriguing. Just listening to your stories, it gives me goosebumps. You have been to numerous places that a lot of people simply dream of, or like they simply dream about having this kind of experiences. And
I know. I've been very fortunate and very lucky, and I realize that absolutely, I do realize that, and that's why I said yes to you because I'm ready to share and I'm ready to listen to other people and give other people the opportunity to to maybe have a similar life like this or
mm,
talk to me and share their worries or and I also think to come back to the question you asked, I think it also being having lived in different countries gives you also a lot of hope because
okay.
people are generally very friendly and curious and lovable and are they're actually all also all very much the same. We all want stability, we all want love, we all want to have good relationships, food, a roof, very simple things that are not common for a lot of people in the world, but that we all strive for.
Mm.
Um, and I think, we can, if we want to, we can together make this place a little bit better every day.
And Natalie, I'm also inquisitive to know about your experiences when you came to India, as you've been to India for 5 times. What sort of places did you visit, and what sort of experiences did you get?
I was lucky to have a cousin of my husband who lived in New Delhi. So we were a few times, I think 2 times we were company wise, because my husband worked with Indian oil tanking. Maybe you know them. Um, a big oil company in India, and they celebrated. I can't remember how many years of existence, and we were invited. So we were in Mumbai. We were in New Delhi. We flew to New Delhi. We did all the touristy things. But the interesting part is we also visited a lot of local companies and local families.
Okay.
And I think the Indian people are very welcoming and
Mm,
very, how would I describe that? Sweet,
yeah, yeah,
and not in a negative way, but in
yeah.
a very soft-hearted. Let's
Mm,
say that very soft-hearted. Um, so that was my experience. And when I came back, the other times I was in retreats, I was in yoga retreats,
yeah.
and in New Delhi and surroundings. So my goal is to still travel around India, but I haven't done that yet. But it's on my list. So I was taught by, I stayed in an ashram for 2 weeks,
Okay.
which was also a huge experience, with, I think, um, would be a good advice for anybody that likes to look inward, but also see how a small community works. I was in Sri Aurobindo, and the experience is the payment of the rooms is very small, but you have to help in the ashram itself. So they are kind of self-sufficient in that way. So early in the morning, you get up and I did clean a lot of
Yeah.
beans. I helped with washing. And the other thing, which I really wanted to mention, which I thought was also something I learned. You get food, right? And you get a simple room. And we all got this metal tray with
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
places,
Mm,
yeah, where you could put your food. And we could have as much food as we wanted. There was only one rule, which I really liked. You had to finish your plate. So there was
mm,
no waste.
definitely.
interesting perspective because we tend to put all the stuff on our plate
Yeah,
and then halfway through we think, oh, we're full and we throw it away. So there
yeah.
was no waste. And
We
in the
see it as,
beginning, I think,
Natalie, sorry for interruption, but we see it as kind of sin. You know, if you keep your food in your plate and you throw it away, it's a sin for us. We don't tend to do it. Even we don't keep one grain of it inside that.
yeah. Oh, that's in general in India. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah, it's general. Like today itself, my mom and I were talking about like she was feeling under the weather, so we brought food from outside, and she told me that don't even keep a single grain in it. Eat everything, you know. And
Yeah,
I am also sure like you might be amazed by the way of eating itself. Like we use our hands. We don't use like that spoons or that much. We tend to eat usually with our hands. So I guess that
yeah.
experience will also might be good for you.
Yeah, yeah. Beautiful. I think it's beautiful. Now we talk a lot about waste, food waste. I think the amount of food that we waste each. Let me not get my facts straight, but I think that we can feed the whole world with the amount of food that we waste in a year. So that shows how just simple mind shifts. Um, can help make you aware of what you're doing. And we had good friends from the Netherlands that we saw every year, and the amount of food waste. And I often said to them, everything you don't eat, you just throw in the trash. You say it's like 20% of what you buy. Be aware of what you're doing. So I opened up and I still try to do that sometimes with people. That's and the interesting thing is when I was in Japan. Sorry for his little side note. There's also the it's called, what's it called, I- iguana or something. And the lifestyle, it says also eat until you're 80% full, which is
Ikigai?
also
Are you
showing us
referring
that
to
we don't
Ikigai?
have to stuff ourselves, right?
Yeah, I read it in the Japanese book Ikigai, the thing that
Oh,
you're mentioning.
Ikigai. Yeah, Ikigai.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was, yeah, Ikigai. Yeah, yeah. And when we were in Japan, people live like that also. It's interesting because we always wonder why everybody's obese, etc. Well, there's a lot of reasons why a lot of people are obese, and it's not only because you eat less. There's a lot of other factors that come into play. But I think if you realize when you have your plate of food in front of you, or when you fill your plate, that the eyes are always bigger than our stomach, my mother used to say, and it's true.
Wow.
Uh, so um, try to eat a little bit less and let it settle and see how full you are. And 80% is perfect.
Definitely. Wow. Eyes are bigger than your stomach. Wow. That's you spoke volumes over there. Wow. I never thought it from that way. Interesting.
So we learn from a lot of cultures, right?
Hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
what's your favorite food?
uh, my favorite food, Natalie?
Yeah.
It's home cooked food, prepared by the hands of my mother. I don't eat
Ah,
outside, because as I'm like just like you, I'm into yoga, so I try to stay like I avoid eating outside food, garbage like junk food and all. So I tend to eat home cooked food.
yeah. Are you vegetarian also or not?
Yeah, since birth.
Yeah. No, most Indians are, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's
You know what also got me into health coaching or became very aware of it is that and I've seen it, and it's no criticism with the Indian people. And I must say I'm not thinking of the people in India that I met in India, but outside that often we see that prosperity, right, brings in big companies like McDonald's and Burger King and Starbucks, etc. And that when a lot of countries that are developing are bombarded with these fast food chains, and and because it's a novelty and because it's interesting and maybe because it comes from America, I'm not so sure what the real reason is, that people start to eat that. And I also saw a change in Japan. And then, one of the things that struck me before I became a health coach, I thought, it can't be the way that
Mm.
if prosperity equals fast food, right?
Yeah.
That, yeah.
Mm.
And for me, and luckily, I think we in the West have come to realize that fast food is actually really bad for you. We are starting to embrace food from the East, right? Thai food, Indian food, Japanese food, clean food, healthy food. So there's also um, or a company that started that's called Slow Food in Italy as a counterpart for fast food. So yeah, and I've seen a lot of that's what I was going to say, a lot of Indians and also people from the Middle East. When they were a little bit, they always went for the fast food change. And I was wondering, you are so slim and so beautiful, and you feed your children all that crap from the West.
Mhm.
Don't. Your food is already so beautiful.
True.
We are jealous of it.
Yeah, definitely,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Yeah.
Like in the context of what you are saying, Natalie, uh, I'm not sure, but there is this mentality that I'm seeing in India. Like Indian food is tremendous when it comes to that. There's no doubt that home cooked food of India is the most beneficial food that you can have for the benefits of your body.
Yeah.
However, people are shifting towards Western foods, like you mentioned, McDonald's and pizzas and all those things. And not only that, because of I feel like somewhere in their minds they feel like they are being more westernized by consuming this kind of foods, like pizzas and if I say that I want to eat chapati and vegetable, I would sound a boring person. But if I say that let's go for a couple for pizzas and thumbs ups or Coca Colas, then I would be a cool person. So that's what
Yeah.
shifting the minds of the people that consuming these things will make them more westernized and I guess somehow more knowledgeable also. I'm not sure why, but that's the mentality of the people.
Yeah, yeah. So you also see that. Yeah, yeah. It's it has to get worse before it gets better, and people realizing that that's absolutely not what you should do. It's interesting if you look in the story of she comes from India. I can't remember her real name, but she goes under Food Babe. She lives in America. She's from Indian heritage. She moved from India as a teenager, and she wanted to fit in the American culture. So she told me her story that she started eating different food, and she refused to eat her mother's food. And
Yeah.
I think also her parents, they all started, they wanted to fit in, which is
Mhm.
kind of logic. If you're from a different country, you want to fit in and eat what the local people do. We would do the same when we are in India, right? Um, but then when she was in her mid or late 20s, and she worked a corporate ladder, but her body started to deteriorate
Mhm.
tremendously. And then she started investigating. She's an investigative food journalist, very
Oh,
interesting person to follow. Food Babe, she's called, um, her brand name, and healed completely healed herself or got herself back on track with food and other supplementation. Very powerful story on how food can really mess up your whole system. I think, but yeah, it's also a kind of logic. You want to fit in, or you want to, um,
look cool.
we all want to be part of something, right? We want
Yeah.
to, yeah. So
Hmm.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Definitely. And Natalie, as you help a lot of people to deal with stress, burnout, and all sort of things like mental things, I want to know what sort of things do you do when you feel like your energy is not, up to the mark, or when you are in the state of burnout. You ever feel that?
Now, burnout, not. I've never been close to a burnout either, but yeah, I do get stressed and I do get in the downs, as we call it. Life is not
Hmm.
throws us all sorts of challenges,
Yeah.
and yes, I've got a few things that I do. I really think that going outside in nature, if you can, to the sea or to the water, I believe that we can. You know, when you have the possibility to go to a sea that has the waves coming in and out, and you breathe with the waves, that all your negativity goes out and you get beautiful new energy in, is very, very healing and supportive. If you don't have that, I think trees do exactly the same. If you are able to walk bare feet, you can literally soak up and breathe in the energy of the earth. You can do that everywhere, and imagine the energy, positive energy flowing up, and positive energy flowing up from the universe
Yeah.
and releasing through breath work. My sign on my arm is indeed the breath,
Oh,
the prana, breath
yeah.
of life. I think breathing is extremely important. One of the tools, because we tend to breathe here, right? Even unknowingly, most people breathe here. So it's
Hmm.
very important. And I think when you're stressed or when you're a little bit of a doldrum, follow your breath. And there are a few exercises. I can give you one. I like the box breathing, which is 5 times in, 5 times hold, 5 times out, 5 times hold, and you do that for a few minutes. Because when you focus, when we get in our down side or in our stress side, our mind starts taking over, right? It starts telling us all these stories of why you're unfit to do this, or you can't juggle your family, or you're missed that sale, or you're not good enough to do this. There are a lot of stories that we tell ourselves in the belief systems that we have. So to shut up this little monkey on your shoulder, which is always yapping away and telling you also different stories, or how bad or how whatever you're not good at. Breathing and concentrating on your breath shuts off your mind. So we can do that now for an example, because you want to do one
Sure, sure.
one
Let's do
breath.
it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. So please breathe in into your stomach. Feel the breath go deeply into your stomach. Put your feet flat on the ground. We're going to do a box breathing exercise. That's 5 breath in, 5 times hold, 5 times out, and 5 times hold. I will count for you. The only thing I would like you to do is concentrate on your breath going in through your nose, all the way down to your belly, and hold it in your belly. Are you ready? Let's go. I count for in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. Breathe in, breathe out. Open your eyes. Did you think of anything, Janil?
I was just enjoying this process. I didn't think about anything. Just listening.
No, you can't. The interesting part is our brain cannot think in two
Mm,
things at the same time. So
yeah.
when you follow your breath and you do the counting, your mind is still. And
Mm,
when you do this for a few minutes, you will see that your body relaxes and gets grounded. And I think that's very important. And that's what I do. I've got a few different exercises. When I'm in bed and I get challenged, then I hold my left hand on my tummy and my right hand on my heart.
mm,
I just breathe in and follow my breath, and it makes me very relaxed. So there are a few things that people can try to de-stress. I think there are obviously a lot of other tools. I think breathing for me is one of the main parts of de-stress. I think what is also important is to surround yourself with positivity. And for
mm.
everybody, that's different. For me, it's often is music, nature. I've said breath, but also people. Um, if you if you go out and you have a cup of coffee somewhere or a tea, a chai tea, or whatever you like, um, sit there and watch people go by, make a conversation, ask about somebody's life. And before you know, you have a beautiful conversation, and that uplifts us because we are not solitary people. We need to have connection with other people, and that
Totally
energy
agree.
can also lift you up. Yeah.
Mm. And
So many elements. These are a few that I do because I think working from home and obviously meeting people online. It's also very important that you physically meet people and go
definitely.
and enjoy um, enjoy others, to say it that way.
Mm.
And gratitude. You've also probably as a yoga fanatic. I think gratitude and
Yeah.
and and when we are in a doldrum, or we tend to forget um, what we have and what we have accomplished. So what I also often say, write down in the morning and also in the evening, or say to yourself, but writing down makes it more firm.
Mm.
10 things that you're grateful for,
Definitely.
and that gives you a lot of things to be grateful for. And I know there are people with a lot of challenges in this world, being in war, being extremely ill, and they wonder, Nathalie, yeah, easy for you to say because you're not ill and you're not living in a war site. I know. But the exercise is the small things that you are grateful for, that you are alive, that you're breathing, that you have food on the table if you have, that your family is still alive. So it's for everybody, it's different, but the exercise has proven to strengthen your energetic system. And that's what we want. We want our energy to stay up, to stay positive. And being in gratitude and being thankful, even if it's for a few small things, helps you lift that energy, that frequency, the frequency we need to lift to be able to receive also. So that I think is a very powerful thing to do.
I can't thank you enough, Natalie, for being a part of this podcast. But having said that, I'm not satisfied with one podcast with you. I feel like I can learn a lot from you. My audience can learn a lot from you. So I'll bother you again with, podcast number two. But in the meantime, I want you to take care of yourself. And again, thanks a million for being a part of this podcast. And I'm already looking forward to our next podcast as well.
Anytime, anytime. Thank you, Janil, for having me. It was a lovely conversation.